The desert wasn't supposed to make a sound, yet something out there was humming, like a giant metallic insect drawing closer with every breath she took. Lieutenant Rhea Maddox tilted her head, squinting against the ribbons of heat rising from the cracked red sand. No human should have been alive out here after 72 hours. No human except her. Because the aliens who dumped her here forgot one detail: she wasn't just any soldier. She was a Navy SEAL. The sun loomed like a molten coin as Rhea trudged forward, her boots sinking into the powder-fine dust. Her mouth felt like it had been lined with gravel, but her mind was cutting sharp. The desert on Carrot 9 wasn't a natural one, it was engineered to kill. The air tasted faintly metallic, each gust like inhaling microscopic razors. Rhea pulled her scarf higher over her nose. "Congratulations, Lieutenant," she muttered to herself hoarsely. "You've officially been kidnapped by lizard people who've never heard of hydration." She still replayed the moment her convoy had been ambushed by the Zachary raiders. She'd fought off 6 of them before being stunned by some kind of sonic pulse. When she regained consciousness, she was here, with nothing but a canteen of alien water, which she did not trust, a knife, and a broken wrist calm. The Zachary must have assumed the desert would finish her off. Cute. Rhea crouched, brushing her fingers through the sand. A faint pattern caught her attention, triangular indentations forming a trail. Not from an animal. Too precise. Too evenly spaced. Something mechanical. So the humming wasn't heat stroke, she murmured. Fantastic. She straightened, scanning the horizon. On Earth, deserts meant snakes, dehydration, and blistering heat. On alien worlds? Whole different vibe. These dunes seemed to rearrange themselves when she wasn't looking, a shimmering dune here, a flat plain there, as if the desert itself was alive. She wasn't imagining it. The map in her head kept rewriting itself. Rhea Maddox had a rule. If your environment is trying to murder you, murder it first. A shadow flickered across the sand. Rhea dropped instantly, flattening herself. A metallic orb, maybe 4 feet wide, drifted by overhead, its single blue eye scanning the ground. A desert sentinel. Probably programmed to eliminate anything warm-blooded wandering too long in the kill zone. "Seriously?" she whispered. "They left me with drones? That's just rude." She breathed shallowly as the drone paused, hovering. It emitted a sharp chirp, so close she could feel the vibrations in her chest. Then, mercifully, it glided away. Rhea waited until it shrank into the shimmering distance before exhaling. This wasn't random. Someone was tracking her. But why leave her alive? She pushed herself up, mentally reviewing options. Water low. Weapons pathetic. Terrain hostile. Motivation spite. Then she heard crunching, fast footsteps. Instinct kicked in. She drew her knife, dropping into a combat stance. A humanoid figure stumbled over a ridge of sand, collapsed, and rolled toward her like a rag doll. "Oh, you've got to be kidding," she muttered. It was an alien. And not one of the Zachary. This one was small, spindly, with pale blue skin and 4 eyes that blinked out of sync. It panted desperately, clutching its side where a glowing red burn sizzled. "Human!" it wheezed. "You must hide now." Rhea knelt, grabbing its wrists. "Who shot you?" The creature shook its head violently. "Hive sentinels, coming, we must run!" Rhea looked behind him. Sand erupted in the distance, 3 more orbs rising like vultures. "Fantastic," she growled. "All right, little guy. On your feet." "But you would help me?" The alien blinked rapidly. "I'm American," Rhea said. "We help strangers. And we punch kidnappers. It's kind of our thing." With surprising strength, she hauled the alien upright and tossed his arm around her shoulders. He squeaked, wincing. "What's your name?" she asked as she started dragging him forward. "Threx," he coughed. "I am a runaway researcher. The desert, it was designed by my people, but it has evolved." "Evolved how? Into a sand-based serial killer?" He blinked at her again, clearly not understanding the joke. "It rearranges its terrain. It hunts emotion. It senses desperation. Well, that's annoying, she muttered, because I'm fresh out of optimism. Behind them, a mechanical roar sliced through the air. Rhea didn't need to look. She sprinted, dragging Threx as the drones picked up speed, closing in fast. Is there anywhere safe out here? She panted. Yes, Threx gasped. A maintenance bunker, 5 kilometers east. Rhea almost laughed. East? Buddy, the sun moves. How do you track directions out here? Threx pointed weakly. The desert moves too, but I memorized the sky patterns. Trust me. Trust an alien she just met who might drop dead any second. Sure. Why not? She trusted worse. They ran, boots sinking into treacherous sand as the horizon shimmered dangerously. The drones fired plasma pulses, each blast erupting into molten craters just behind them. Rhea turned her head briefly, and shouted, Threx! Heads down! One pulse slammed into a dune. The whole dune collapsed, cascading toward them like a slow, deadly avalanche. Rhea threw her body over Threx as the sand engulfed them. She held her breath, pushing upward, clawing through the suffocating weight. At last, air. She dragged Threx up beside her. He coughed violently. That bunker, she said. Still worth going to? Yes, he rasped. It contains controls for shutting down the sentinels. Rhea bared her teeth in a grin that would have scared the Marines she trained with. Good, she said. Because I'm done being hunted. And as the desert shifted beneath them like a living beast preparing to strike, Rhea Maddox realized one thing. If the Zachary thought the desert would kill her, it was about to learn what humans did best. Survive the impossible. The ground shivered beneath Rhea's boots as if something massive was waking up under the sand, stretching, testing, choosing where to strike next. She tightened her grip on Threx's arm, forcing him forward even as his legs trembled. The humming of the sentinels grew sharper, no longer distant hunters but predators who had locked on to their prey. Ahead, the horizon twisted like a mirage bending into itself. The dunes reshaped, rising and collapsing in unnatural synchronization, like the ripples of an unseen creature swimming just beneath the surface. It's rearranging the terrain, Threx panted. It knows we run. It knows we fear. Well, it's about to learn something new, Rhea snapped. Humans don't scare easy. The drones swooped closer. Rhea heard the electrical whine of targeting systems warming up. She cursed under her breath and pulled Threx behind a jagged outcrop of crimson stone, the first solid rock she'd seen in kilometers. Sit, she ordered, dropping to her knees beside him. Threx obeyed, wheezing. Rhea dug into her pocket and pulled out the broken wrist comm, useless as a communicator, but with a few wires exposed, maybe not useless as a tool. She flicked one of the loose circuits. It sparked. Threx, she said, her fingers flying. These drones heat tracking? Motion? Or are they reading life signatures? Life signatures, Threx gasped. They will detect us if we run again. Great, she muttered. We need camouflage. Something that messes with their sensors. She scanned the rock's shadow. The sand here was darker, colder. The stone almost vibrated under her palm. What's this rock made of? Ferrite, Threx said. Magnetically dense. It interferes with. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Rhea grinned. They're scanners. She scraped handfuls of the dark dust from the base of the formation, rubbing it over her arms, face, and clothes until she looked like she'd been rolled in metallic soot. Then she slapped some onto Threx. Hold still, she said. He blinked. Is this a human survival ritual? Something like that. The drones passed directly overhead. Rhea froze, her breath thin and controlled. The blue eyelight swept the area, paused, and moved on. Threx exhaled shakily. It worked. You outsmarted them. Oh, trust me, Rhea said, standing. That was the warm-up. Now we get creative. But the desert had other plans. The sand around their feet trembled, swirling inward as if someone were stirring a giant invisible spoon. The ground dipped, forming a sinkhole that widened by the second. Rhea grabbed Threx. Move! They sprinted just as the rock behind them was swallowed whole. A deep groan echoed beneath the surface. The desert wasn't rearranging itself. It was alive. Or something under it was. Threx struggled to keep up. The movement patterns. I thought they were automated. But this is conscious. Then let's hope it's not hungry, Rhea growled. The terrain shifted, forming a rising ridge. Threx pointed at it with wide eyes. The bunker, this way. It's guiding us. Pretty sure it's hurting us. Rhea corrected, but she followed. They climbed the uneven rise, fighting gravity as the dune reshaped like a wave mid-motion. Rhea felt it, an intelligence observing them, calculating. At the crest, a metallic shape jutted from the sand, a hatch, partially buried. There! Threx cried. The maintenance bunker! Rhea jumped the last few feet and knelt beside the hatch, brushing off the sand. A panel blinked weakly. I need a power cell, Threx said, frantic. The systems won't respond. Rhea looked back. The drones were closing in, their shadows stretching across the sand like executioners. Okay, she muttered. Then we borrow theirs. She sprinted straight toward the nearest drone. Threx screamed. Human, no! But she was already sliding beneath the orb, jamming her knife upward into the seam between its plating. Sparks erupted. The drone shrieked mechanically, thrashing in erratic circles. Rhea clung to it, ripping out a glowing blue core the size of her fist before rolling clear as the drone exploded behind her. She sprinted back to Threx, tossing him the core. Make it work! Threx shoved the cell into the panel. The hatch beeped, whirring to life. Hurry! Rhea shouted. Another drone fired. The plasma bolt struck the sand at her feet, sending molten dust spraying. Rhea shielded her face and dove into the bunker after Threx as the hatch slammed shut behind them. Inside, the darkness pulsed faintly with emergency lights. The air was cooler, filtered. Machinery hummed below the floor. Threx staggered to a console and began typing on an alien interface. I can access the Sentinel override from here, but the system is fragmented. You mean broken? Rhea said. Ruin, Threx admitted. The desert has corrupted the power grid, almost like it is fighting us. Rhea scanned the room. Tools. Old control panels. A wall-sized device humming with faint blue energy. She pointed. What's that? Threx hesitated. A terraforming control node. Rhea narrowed her eyes. Can it stop the desert from moving? Yes, he said slowly. But if I activate it manually, it might destabilize the entire region. Define destabilize. The ground could collapse. The sentinels could overload. The desert might devour itself. Rhea cracked her knuckles. Sounds like an opportunity. Threx stared at her. Humans are terrifying. Flattery later, Rhea said. Right now, we make a plan. The bunker shook violently, dust falling from the ceiling. Something massive slammed against the hatch. The desert itself was trying to break in. Rhea stepped beside Threx, eyes blazing with determination, not fear. All right, she said. Show me how to break your planet. The bunker lights flickered as something scraped across the hatch from the outside, long, grinding strokes like claws made of stone dragging against steel. Rhea planted her feet, knife in hand, as if the desert itself were a creature trying to force its way in. The metallic groan that followed made the walls shudder. If the hatch gave out, they were done. Threx trembled at the console. It knows we're here, the intelligence in the sand. It does not want its systems touched. Rhea checked the door again. A dent appeared, deep, fresh, and pulsing with the rhythm of something alive. Good, she muttered. Means we're close to hurting it. Threx swallowed hard. Human, you face this with no fear? Oh, I'm plenty scared, Rhea said, rolling her shoulders. I just get mean when I'm scared. The bunker jolted again. Dust rained from the ceiling. The lights dimmed to a reddish glow as systems struggled. Threx pointed to the massive terraforming control node. If we activate this, it will interrupt the desert's adaptive matrix. It might freeze the terrain temporarily, or it might cause a cascade collapse. Cascade collapse? Rhea repeated. As in sand monster goes boom? Possibly. Threx didn't look reassured. The hatch bulged inward as another slam reverberated through the chamber. Rhea spun toward the console. Tell me what I need to do. Threx's 4 eyes darted across the readings. We must synchronize 3 systems, the climate regulator, the tectonic stabilizer, and the sentinel override. Okay, Rhea said, tightening her grip on her knife. You do that. I'll deal with whatever's trying to dig in. Threx looked horrified. But what if it is the desert itself? A distributed intelligence, the shifting sand organism? You cannot fight it. Rhea smirked. Watch me. The hatch buckled inward, spraying a fine stream of sand that seemed to writhe like living worms. Rhea slashed at it. The sand recoiled as if shocked. Well, Rhea muttered. That's new. The sand surged again through the crack, more determined, forming into a tendril that whipped toward her. Rhea ducked, rolled, and jammed her knife into the flow. The metallic dust she'd rubbed on earlier interfered just enough to scatter the tendril apart. Threx shouted. Human! I need more time! You'll get it, she barked, swinging the knife as another tendril formed. The desert was adapting. The sentinels outside began pounding rhythmically as if coordinating with the living sand. Rhea's muscles burned as she sliced through each attack, dancing backward as the crack widened, spilling more sand that slithered like snakes. You're not getting in, she growled. Pick another bunker! The sand suddenly surged upward, forming a pillar, then a rough humanoid shape. A face without features. A body without bones. A towering figure made of swirling particles, its head brushing the ceiling. Rhea blinked once. Oh, that's fantastic! The creature lunged. Rhea dove aside as its arm, if it could be called that, slammed down, smashing a crater into the floor. She rolled, sprang up, and stabbed, her knife sending ripples through the sandy torso. It staggered back, reforming instantly. Threx screamed. It's a manifestation! A drone made of the terrain! It can't be killed, only disrupted. Then I'll disrupt the hell out of it. The sand creature swung again. Rhea ducked under the sweeping strike, sprinted toward a cabinet, and ripped it open. Tools rattled inside, alien spanners, magnetic cutters, something that looked like a glowing tuning fork. Hello, beautiful, she murmured, grabbing the fork-shaped device. The sand creature lunged again. Rhea activated the device. It emitted a vibration, low, thrumming, almost musical. The creature jerked violently as its body deformed, rippling like water in a storm. Oh, you don't like that? Rhea said. Good. She advanced, waving the device. The creature backpedaled, flickering. But the desert outside roared, sending more sand in through the widening crack. A second figure began to form. Threx shouted over the chaos. Human! The override system is responding. I need you to flip the stabilizer lever when I say. Make it quick! Rhea yelled as the first sand figure lunged again. She slid beneath its arm, electricity singing through her muscles as she rolled and popped up behind it. She slammed the tuning fork device into the creature's chest. It screamed, not with sound but with vibration, collapsing briefly before reforming into a slimmer but faster shape. Oh, come on! Rhea muttered. Now it's learning cardio? Threx shouted. Now! Rhea sprinted to the stabilizer lever and yanked it down. The floor trembled. A deep hum filled the bunker. Override sequence started! Threx cried. You must activate the climate regulator! Rhea dashed across the room as the sand creature swung again, barely missing her. She slammed her palm down on the regulator panel. The lights flashed. The desert outside shrieked, an unearthly sound vibrating through the metal walls. What's happening? She shouted. Threx typed frantically. It's resisting, overloading its own systems, trying to break everything. The creature surged forward, larger, angrier. Rhea darted to the last console, the sentinel override. I'm hitting it! She yelled. No! Threx cried. Only when the energy spike peaks. The creature loomed behind her, raising both arms. Rhea gritted her teeth, staring at the panel readout. 74%. 82%. 91%. Come on, she whispered. The creature's arms fell. Threx screamed. Now! Rhea slammed the override. The bunker erupted in blinding blue light. The creature disintegrated mid-strike, dissolving into harmless dust that fell like glittering ash. The pounding outside ceased. The living hum of the desert stuttered, then went silent, as if the entire planet had exhaled at once. Rhea lowered her arm, breathing hard. Threx stared at her, as if seeing a legend come to life. Human, he whispered. You just fought the desert. Rhea smirked. And I'm still standing. The silence that followed was wrong, too empty, too complete, like the desert had suddenly forgotten how to breathe. Rhea stood perfectly still, knife in one hand, the humming fork weapon in the other. The bunker lights stabilized, glowing a soft blue instead of panicked red. Threx stared at the melted consoles as if expecting them to explode again. Then the ground gave a soft groan, as if the planet itself was settling, exhausted. Rhea exhaled. Tell me that means we won. Threx scanned the readouts with shaking hands. The adaptive matrix is offline. The sentinels have shut down. The terrain is no longer alive. Rhea smirked. Good. I was getting tired of wrestling sand people. Threx tilted his head, four eyes blinking in confusion. You wrestle? With sand? It's a figure of speech. She sighed. Humans complain when they almost die. It's tradition. He nodded solemnly, as if filing that away for scientific study. The bunker's air filtration system kicked in with a soft whoosh. For the first time since she'd woken up in that hellish desert, Rhea felt a hint of cool air on her face. She allowed herself 2 seconds of relief, then tightened her grip again. All right, she said. Next problem, getting off this planet. Threx hesitated. There is an old transmitter in the sublevels. But it is weak. We would need to boost it manually. Rhea cracked her neck. Lead the way. Threx opened a hatch in the floor, revealing a ladder dropping into a dim shaft. Rhea descended first, knife between her teeth, boots thudding lightly against the rungs. The air grew cooler as they dropped into the sub-bunker level. Dust motes floated like lazy stars in the faint light from an emergency strip. A small panel blinked on the far wall, ancient, cracked but alive. That it? Rhea asked. Yes, Threx said, kneeling beside it. If I can redirect the remaining power. He stopped mid-sentence as a faint rumble vibrated through the floor. Rhea tensed. Please tell me that's not the desert rebooting. No, Threx said quickly. This feels like structural shift. The destabilization we triggered may have reached the deeper strata. The bunker may not remain stable. Perfect, Rhea muttered. Because this whole day wasn't stressful enough. Threx worked at the panel, pulling apart wires with thin blue fingers. Sparks leapt. The transmitter coughed to life, emitting a faint chirp. Rhea crouched beside him. Can this reach orbit? It depends, Threx said. Do humans have ships nearby? High-value seal on a missing crew file? Rhea said. Oh yeah? They're looking. Threx hesitated. Then I shall encode a distress beacon with your identification. Rhea blinked. You know my ID? I scanned it from your dog tag. He held it up sheepishly. I assumed this was a ceremonial talisman. It's for identification, she said, gently taking it back. Not for chewing or scanning. Usually. Threx nodded solemnly. Understood. Another rumble shook the bunker, stronger this time. Dust cascaded from the ceiling in thick sheets. We need that beacon now, Rhea warned. Threx's hands flew faster. Almost done! The transmitter blared a sharp signal, echoing off the metal walls. A holographic ripple burst upward, carrying Rhea's coded ID into the air. Then the entire bunker tilted. Rhea grabbed Threx before he tumbled. Pipes snapped overhead, spraying cold vapor. The floor cracked beneath them, splitting a jagged line across the room. "Move!" Rhea shouted, hauling Threx toward the ladder. They climbed fast, emerging into the upper bunker as another deep groan echoed below. The walls buckled inward. The terraforming node flickered violently. Rhea shoved Threx toward the exit hatch. "Get out!" She spun the wheel. The hatch burst open and a flood of sunlight blasted into the room. Outside, the desert was no longer shifting, but it wasn't stable either. Great fissures spidered across the surface, venting steam. Threx stumbled into the open air. Rhea followed, turning just in time to see the bunker sink several inches into the ground with a metallic scream. "We should run," Threx said. "We really should," Rhea agreed. They sprinted across the fractured terrain. The air shimmered. The sky darkened. A shadow fell over them. Rhea skidded to a stop. A human ship, a sleek, angular strike craft, hovered overhead, dust whipping outward from its thrusters. A voice boomed through the calm. "Lieutenant Maddox! Hold position!" Rhea saluted up at the sky, grinning with a mix of relief and triumph. "Took you long enough!" A lift field enveloped her and Threx, pulling them upward. Threx clung to her arm, trembling. "Human ships, they are magnificent." "Yeah," Rhea said proudly. "They really are." As the ground crumbled beneath them, the strike craft sealed its bay doors, lifting them away from the dying desert. Maddox rushed forward, confused by the soot-covered, half-melted, knife-wielding seal who looked like she'd survived 5 apocalypse scenarios before breakfast. One medic blinked. "Lieutenant, what the hell happened down there?" Rhea smirked. "Long story. Short version? They thought the desert would kill me." She leaned back against the bulkhead, exhausted but alive. "They forgot I'm a Navy SEAL." And somewhere far below, Carrot 9's desert let out one final rumble, like a defeated beast sinking back into sleep. If you enjoyed this story and want more HFY epics, make sure to subscribe to the Void Narratives on YouTube, where humans always hit harder.